Hey folks, so one or two of you have been complaining that my videos always make Russia look grey and dull and industrial. I mean, that's kind of the idea in a way, but in this week's episode I thought we could focus on modern, upmarket, dynamic Russia. And for those of you that think that Russia is always grey and dull and overcast, well, look up there. Now, while sometimes the small towns in Russia might seem not that well kept, the big cities are in excellent condition. In Russia, I think that when you're in the small towns, where I am most of the time, I think you can tell the difference. You do know you're in Russia when you're in the small towns. But when you come to any big city, like Yekaterinburg or any other, then really you could be anywhere else in the world. That is a very popular little shopping centre. Quite upmarket as well. It's called Zolotoy Yabloko or Golden Apple, but unfortunately it doesn't open until 9. It's only 8:30, so we can't go inside. But it's open till 11 o'clock at night. We can at least look in the window though, and they've also got their own swanky little cafe in there where you can sit and have coffee or sit outside as well if you don't mind the noisy street. Also, I guess my videos tend to be a bit blokey, so look, something for the ladies there. There's certainly no shortage of swanky supermarkets in any big city. Okay, this also doesn't open until 9 o'clock, but again, it stays open till 11. But yeah, if you want to do anything before 9 o'clock in a big city in Russia, then sorry guys, you're out of luck. In fairness, I should actually say that quite a few supermarkets, not just in the big cities but in the small towns, are actually 24 hours. Right, there's a supermarket here that's advertising itself as a 24-hour place, so let's try in there, shall we? Looks a nice one. Choose your bread type, whether you want Uzbek bread or Georgian bread. Russians have become quite serious coffee drinkers actually. You see, there's all these labels for the cheese show. Russia has started producing things again. Before there'd have been cheese from all around the world here. Now Russia is producing all its own cheese, with a bit of help from Belarus. Some Western publications did try to make out that there was empty shelves in Russia, but that has never ever been the case. There's never ever been empty shelves in Russia since the sanctions and everything like that. There might be once upon a time during the USSR, but in modern Russia, no way. Like I've said, it's choice, choice, choice. Even despite the sanctions and everything else, you can still find anything you want in Russia, really. In fact, like I alluded to in a previous video, you actually get more choice in a way now than you did before, because for every international product that's left, it's been replaced by 3 or 4 Russian versions. So Russia's getting quite with it these days. These cafes advertising things like salad bar and tacos and avocado and desserts without sugar. I see, it's called a Detox bar, that's why. My goodness. Detox bars in Russia? Wow. So you can buy yourself a new German car if you wish to. Obviously in the bigger cities, one thing you notice is you see a lot more English. All over the city they've got information boards in both Russian and English. You can even find English language kindergartens. If you want your beard grooming, then loads of places in the city to do that. I know I usually stay in $20 Soviet hotels, but there's plenty of upmarket expensive hotels to stay in if you want, like there or here. You wouldn't believe the amount of apartment blocks that are going up in every big city in Russia. In fact, every medium-sized city as well. It's perfectly common to find the old still there right alongside the new. I do sometimes wonder in these construction sites whether health and safety has been taken seriously enough. Trust me, I'm about the furthest you ever find from being health and safety police, but I'm just saying. Obviously because of the climate, dining outside is not so common, but there's ways around it. In the summer, it can get seriously hot in Russia. It's quite common for many parts of the country to experience plus 40. Swanky apartments and office blocks are everywhere in the big cities. That there is the huge shopping centre in the city centre that I popped in the previous video. I mean, it doesn't look huge from the outside, but once you get inside, it's massive. Okay, time for breakfast. It's amazing how much you pack into your day when you get up early. What I like in Russia in coffee shops and cafes is you can still get healthy food. It's not just cakes and unhealthy stuff. Look at all this good stuff here. Okay, it's got the naughty but nice stuff as well. The amount of cafe chains and independent cafes in the city is absolutely incredible. The one I'm in now is probably my favourite. It's named after me, but that's not why it's my favourite. I noticed in Yekaterinburg there's a lot of wine shops. So what have we got here? French cafe, shisha bar, Georgian restaurant, Korean, etc, etc. I don't know if it's just in Russia or everywhere in the world, but anything Korean here is so popular. Korean technology, Korean cosmetics, Korean food. And behind me is a very popular chain of Korean fast food places or street food places. It's called Chiko, which seems a bit of a strange name for a Korean cafe, and it's in a rather odd location, but that doesn't seem to matter. People queue to get into there. So here's KFC. Oh, sorry, did I say KFC? I mean Rostic's. Rostic's. Definitely not KFC. Nothing like KFC. Completely different. No shortage of shopping malls in the city, that's for sure. Lenin wouldn't have minded the modernization of Russia. He was all for that. For those of you that have to travel way out of your town or city to go to the football stadium, you might be envious of the citizens of Yekaterinburg who have this brand new stadium located just a 5-minute walk from the main street, right in the city centre. Well, I say brand new stadium, that's not quite right. There was a stadium there before and you can still see the carcass of it. I guess it's a heritage piece, so they kept it, and then they built a brand new stadium for the World Cup around it. But you can see the original part of the stadium at the bottom there, and the football figures there. That's all original from the 1950s. You probably noticed as well the stands at both ends coming outside the stadium. It's the most unusual but cool stadium, I think. There's still loads of Western companies here. You see the Hyatt Hotel here, and plenty others as well. You know, these Western companies, they like making money, and Russia's a great place to make money. Having said that, it might not necessarily be the Hyatt. In Russia, sort of anyone can just use any name, it seems. There's no like naming laws or anything like that. Effectively, the international community has isolated Russia, and Russia in return has isolated the international community. The real mega rich, you know, the oligarchs that you get here in Russia, a lot of them have left Russia in the past couple of years to go to places like Dubai, because they need to be in such places to spend a huge amount of wealth. Because what's the point of having all that wealth if you're not going to spend it? But I mean, for everyone else, you know, there's something for every budget in Russia. If you want to blow your money in Russia, well then there's plenty of opportunities for that. Believe you me. You see all the new flats being built everywhere, all the new businesses and everything. You know, the economy here is booming. That's kind of cool, the youth palace in the distance there, a bit like the football stadium. It's been modernised a lot, but they've kept the Soviet artwork at the top. So far I've just been in the more central part of the city. So I guess, of course, you know, the central part of the big city is going to be really developed. So why don't I just jump on the metro and go to the furthest away station and see how things are on the outskirts of the city. Probably lots of people outside Russia don't know that Russians are actually living better now, you know, in modern times, than they have at any time in the past nearly 900 years. But certainly in comparison to their ancestors or generations before them, Russians have never had it so good. Like I've mentioned before, the transport situation in Russia is really good. Better than most Western countries for sure. You know, have you ever been on the subway in a big city in the United States, for example? They're not clean and safe like they are here in Russia. I've been on every metro system in Russia, and I've never ever seen any antisocial behaviour, any vandalism or graffiti or anything like that on any metro station anywhere in Russia. So I've never been to this area at all, so I've got no idea what it's like, so we can all be surprised together, right? Or shocked. Seems okay, actually. It seems this area also has plenty of new housing. Obviously there's still plenty of the older blocks still around as well. Honestly, I think if you jump on the metro in your city, wherever in the world that is, and go to the end of the line, I'd be surprised if you find something as nice as here. Well, on the downside, I did almost get run over by a 4-year-old just now. Actually, in fairness, even the older housing still seems in good nick. You could easily get yourself a little flat in one of these swanky new buildings for about $40,000 or less. Okay, lunchtime. So there's a coffee brand there, it's got another cool name. It's called Engels. Now, Engels seems more of an upmarket cafe. There's another upmarket chain, there's at least 2 or 3 really upmarket ones. But I'm not sure I want to take a loan just to buy coffee, so I probably won't go in there. It's the sort of place where, you know, you hang up your coat at the beginning and you have table service and things like that. But I prefer the cafes a bit more simple, where you can go and help yourself. There's a nice chain. They kind of have an emphasis on healthy eating, and it's like a shop and a cafe in one. Look, just because there's an emphasis on healthy eating doesn't mean they haven't got some tasty stuff as well. Plenty of onoriki there, if you know what they are. Hopefully my wife's not watching this, because if so, she'll expect me to bring her back a motti. I'll be honest, until I met my wife I had no idea what things like mottis and onorigis were. You can't move for sushi in Russia. Every single restaurant offers sushi, as does every shop. With such a huge choice, it wasn't easy to decide what to have, but in the end I went for some manti, which is like some food from the ex-Soviet Republic, a Caesar salad. There's a non-alcoholic coconut cider, I never had one of them before, and I get to have a little view out the window as well of one of the high rises. That was an enjoyable lunch, actually. I mean, needless to say, you know, I could have went somewhere swanky, I could have went to a posh restaurant or something like that, but that takes a lot of time and also might blow the budget, the show budget, which is about 0 ruble on every episode. I tell you something, if this is how life in Russia is during the sanctions, then quite frankly, let's have more sanctions, please. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed seeing another side of Russia that we don't normally cover, but don't worry, next episode I'm pretty sure we'll be back to Soviet stuff again. Okay, take care till then.